Sup YouTube, welcome back to another video. I see so many comments on GBL vids from players new to the scene centered around Pokemon Go terminology. What is insert PvP term here? So think of this as a Pokemon Go Battle League PvP beginner's incomplete guide. If you're a seasoned veteran and want to stick around and correct me on what I may have missed or gotten wrong, please feel free. But if you're a newbie, sit down, strap in, bust out that pen and paper because I'm about to take you back to school. I'll be your professor for the day, Ruffian Romeo. My friends call me Rome, but you can call me Uncle Rome. But enough with the pleasantries, let's get down to business. So let's say you clicked on that battle icon for the first time in your Pokemon Go life and are hit face first with the Go Battle League screen, and the first question on your mind is, what the hell is even that? This is all that this video is going to be about. The very first thing that you should know about the beautiful world of Pokemon Go, where fighting is legal and everyone's addicted to dust, is that your Pokemon have typings. Know your typings, know your matchups. The super basics. What are typings? How do you define typings? The age-old, well-known triangle of rock, paper, scissors, aka water, grass, and firepower. Water puts out the fire. Fire incinerates the grass, and grass absorbs the water to thrive. Most are pretty self-explanatory, such as poison and steel, and by proxy, bug and steel, because I don't know about you, but I ain't never seen an arachnid take down a skyscraper, but that's just me. Others take their cues from real life, such as ground and electric, where in engineering, when an electrician hooks up your lights, you better make sure that they use a ground wire, because God forbid you running too much juice through them cables. You're gonna need somewhere to put that light lest you get your lights blown out. All that to say, learn your typings. There's a lot of resources out there, so I'll leave you to it. GBL, the Go Battle League, the PvP player versus player realm. It's the PvP portion of Pokemon Go. It's the ugly duckling, the societal outcast, the misfits, the little train that could, and the most thrilling portion of Pokemon Go. It's where you get to battle with others with a team of Pokemon in a blind 3 versus 3 format, paired beautifully by Niantic's matchmaking system, aka the algorithm. Shout out 𝑃𝒐𝒒𝒂𝒒. When you enter the Go Battle League, you choose 3 Pokemon to enter with, centered around 3 different leagues for the general purposes of this video, which are defined by a CP cap or a combat point cap. That's that little number that hovers atop your Pokemon in your Pokemon storage box, or whenever you click on your individual Pokemon to, I don't know, look at them. The teams are built of 3, and the leagues defined as these. Great League, 1500 CP cap. Ultra League, 2500 CP cap. Master League, unlimited CP cap, aka as high as they go. And there's also Little Cup, which is like 500 CP. Show 6 is slightly different formatting. It's the official and unofficial Pokemon Go tournaments where you choose a team of 6, much like in the main series games, and you battle with open team sheets, meaning your opponent knows your team and you know theirs. You can only choose 3 out of those 6 to actually trade fisticuffs with your opponents, but it is less RPS than the open GBL. Rankings and climbings. Why are you even battling? Is it for shits and giggles? For some it is. This is the reason you do battle. This is the reason we go to war. So you can drop in the Discord from time to time or Twitter and brag about just how much you've accomplished. There are 5 ranks and are defined as thus. From the down under to the tippy top creme of the crop, based on an ELO skill point system or MMR rating for those of you in the boonies. They are no rank, ace rank at 2000 ELO, veteran rank at 2500 ELO, expert rank at 2750 ELO, legend rank at the fabled 3000 come and say hello. And then there's the leaderboard, which displays the top 500 battlers in the world at any given day. But what is the point of ranking, you may be asking, my very astute and young Padawan? You're gifted certain items / mons and poses at different ranks. These items, mons, and poses are essentially just bragging rights, aka brownie points. They don't define who you are. You are enough, I promise you. And what is the point of climbing the leaderboards, you may be asking? Literally nothing. Next up is the tap 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 your way to legend mechanics we all know and love. The basic mechanics. Your fast move attack and your charged move attack. The tap tap portion of this game is actually your fast move. What you are doing when you are tapping your screen like a madman is activating your Pokemon's fast attack. You can see the visual cue via the animation that plays every time you tap your screen. We'll get into the movesets in a bit. The fast attack though is an energy generating move and you can gain up to 100 energy. Different fast attacks gain different energy and do different damage. Different charge attacks cost different energy and do different damage. You then click one of these 2 bubbles in the lower third of your screen and full send those bad boys against your opponents. Once you click these charge attacks, a bubble animation will play. Swipe those bubbles until you see that excellent display. We'll get into undercharging later, but for now, swipe all the way to excellent. So in summary, your fast move gains energy, your charge move uses that energy, and you are capped at 100 energy in this great circle of life. Lastly, you have 2 shields to your name. They do not stack up into the next game, so please, use them. Next up, let's look at the Pokemon. What is meta? Meta is currently defined by PVPoke.com, which is a free resource that you should use, which will show you the top chicken contenders for specific leagues based on that Pokemon's individual performance, which is in turn defined by their overall stat product as well as their matchups against other eligible Pokemon in those leagues. PVPoke is sort of the unofficial resource of Pokemon Go GBL. If you're tired of dragging your feet and want to rank amongst the elites, use PVPoke. That's how the world champ did it, that's how Pokemon YouTubers do it, and it's worked out pretty well so far. Performance. What is that? Typically is based on the overall stat product your Pokemon has, their typing, and the moveset they have for countering the meta. Your stat product is essentially your bulk. For any RPG players, it's like the overall strength, power, and stamina that your Pokemon has. These are your Pokemon's official attack, defense, and stamina, aka HP. And more specifically, for your individual Pokemon, your IVs, or individual values, which are unique to every Pokemon that you capture or trade. These are the stats you see in the lower third portion of your screen every time you appraise them on, which are capped at 15. A 15-15-15 is also known as perfect IVs, aka the Hundo. These IVs can be optimized for PvP, but we'll get to that. Now let's talk the actual movesets for your mons. We've talked about fast moves and charge moves, but what are these moves? These are the moves that are accessible to your Pokemon. PVPoke is also a good resource for this. My preference though is game info, links down below. I'm not sponsored. You get 1 fast move of your choosing for each Pokemon and up to 2 charge moves. If you scroll down on the Pokemon you wish to do battle with, you'll see a button to unlock a second charge move. If you want to take GBL seriously, unlock that second charge move for all your mons. How do you switch between different movesets? Great question. I'm glad I asked. That's where TMs and ETMs come in. TMs are technical machines and come in 2 varieties, fast and charged. Each will change that respective move. General TMs will give you access to the moves generally available to your Pokemon, and Elite TMs will give you access to the moves known as Legacy or Community Day moves, Com Day moves. They're synonymous, but they're not identical. Currently, 𝐏𝐨𝐤𝐞𝐦𝐨 and 𝑴𝒐𝒗𝒆 signature moves aren't available via Elite TM, because Niantic sucks. Unobtainable moves are, as the name implies, moves that are unobtainable or no longer attainable, and you can't TM or Elite TM for them. 𝐁𝐚𝐭𝐭𝐥𝐸 𝐁𝐚𝐭𝐭𝐥𝐸. Niantic has been doing better recently about reintroducing those moves during the recent seasons. We'll see if they can keep that steam going. Team styles. These will define who you are as a person in the GBL stratosphere, so choose wisely. BBML. It's that, respectfully, basic bitch meta line. A player that sticks to the top meta, top 10 on PVPoke's most wanted lists, and runs those lines religiously. It's someone who has no taste in apparel, doesn't know what a condiment is, and lives a mundane 9 to 5 playing that game of life on autopilot. All joking aside, it is a team complete with the top Pokemon as defined by the meta. Anti-meta or off-meta. This is typically top 100 to top 20. These people are stylish. Glock tuck, big t-shirt, Billie Eilish. They eat good food, and they like to skirt the fine line that is adventure, but also live a comfortable lifestyle. These people are your friends. A fun time and all around good vibes. Spice picks, 100 and below. It's for the absolute daredevils, the ones that love a thrill and like to live life on the edge. They're here for a good time, not a long time, and typically they like Callum on their toast. You'll never have a boring conversation with them as their life is nothing but interesting. It's incredibly difficult to actually run a team with these mons, but if you're a good battler and know your typings, your matchups, and your game mechanics, you'll do just fine. This is probably what most people are here for. It's the ABCs, the ABBs, the ABAs, the toxic lines, all of that nonsense. What does it all mean? Before we get into that, let's define lead, safe swap, and closer. A lead is the Pokemon you start battle with. Pretty self-explanatory. Safe swap, typically it's the Pokemon with the most neutral matchups against most of the meta that can allow you to win swap or put your Pokemon in a more favorable alignment should the need arise. The safe swap is typically employed if you find yourself in a bad lead matchup and want to win swap, win switch. The counter swap is what you swap into in the event that your opponent is the one that pivots and you wish to retain swap, keep that favorable alignment you may have had. The closer is, as the name implies, typically the mon you save shields for in the end or has the most nuking potential for you to close out that game. But now let's get into the actual teams. The ABCs, they're incredibly balanced, typically comprised of bulky mons, high stat product mons, where for the most part, all of the Pokemon can cover each other's weaknesses. This team style typically comes with some Corebreakers, which we'll get to in a bit, but its main design is to be incredibly balanced, to have as many safe matchups as possible. The ABB style team, the most infamous of the lines, and for good reason, is a team where the lead Pokemon covers the weaknesses of the Pokemon in the back, and vice versa. The play is typically to bait out a hard counter to those two Pokemon in the back, lose or soft lose that switch, and then clean house with that lead Pokemon and leave shields for the Pokemon in the back. This was most famously propagated by 𝐏𝐨𝐤𝐞𝐦𝐨𝐬 with his double grass backline, or Wallower with his actually triple counter line, where the lead was a defense Deoxys and the back two Mons were two normal types. This line was also sort of kind of popularized by yours truly in that D-Knight double steal, RIP. An ABA line is a much more unconventional line where you are weak in the lead and in the back to a singular typing, but if you hard read the meta, a line that can play out really, really well. You soft lose the lead or win the lead with your lead Pokemon, and then you do not pivot. You let the back two Pokemon RPS the rest of your opponent's line. Some notable teams have been the ABA Steel, where the middlemon is typically an anti-fighter of some sort, Annihilate, Medicham, rest in peace, and 𝐏𝐨𝐤𝐞. I've used this team composition to great success, mostly because I suck at building teams, but overall this playstyle is very, very fun. For those that want no coverage, you got your AAA. Not to be confused with the AAA roadside assistance, because there is no assisting you if you run this line. This team style is for the insane, for the hooligans, the ruffians, the miscreants, the me porto mal chico malo. It's your triple charm, your triple fire, your triple whatever the hell you want to run. Lastly, and definitely most infamously, are the toxic lines. It's your Wigglytuff, your Basties, your Vicks. It's your Grasshole. These are your high pressure, fast attack teams that seldom throw any charge moves, but when they do, it's mostly to debuff your ass. A word to the wise, when you face this line, please use your shields. And finally, what is a Corebreaker? Well, to define Corebreaker, we have to define a core. Your core is typically two Mons that pair really well with each other and cover each other's weaknesses. Something as simple as the infamous Mudboy Skarm core, 𝐿𝒉𝒂𝒎𝒑𝒔 core. A Corebreaker is essentially something that breaks this core. You typically face it in the lead, and it's the moment when you start perspiring and shitting bricks on some what in the hell do we do now? I wasn't really sure where to place this category, so I'll make it its own little one. Shadow Pokemon, and the home of 𝐿𝒉𝒂𝒎𝒑𝒔 Mr. Jamie_Finn1415. Shadow Pokemon have a 20% boost to their attack stat, with a 20% drop to their defense stat. Because who cares about playing it safe when you can go big or go home? And since the economy has gone to shit and most of us don't have a home, we only got one option. Quick side note, the Shadow attack boost is not factored into the CMP/CAP ties, which we'll cover in the next section. And also, don't purify your Mons. This is most likely the term I've heard about asked the most, PvP IVs, and what are those? These are the ideal IVs that you want on your Pokemon as it pertains to the Go Battle League specifically. For Master League, you want to cap at unlimited cap, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Hundo's 100% IVs. Let's get into the shit that makes a little less sense. Great League and Ultra League, and also Little Cup, but we don't subscribe to that propaganda around these parts. Generally speaking, you are going to want a low attack and high defense and HP stats for the Mons you choose to tango with. The reason for PvP IVs in general is that the attack stat weighs heavier on the Pokemon soul when accounting for stat product. So the less attack you have, the more levels a Pokemon can reach, and thus the more stat product it can have. Trust me, if you don't think about it too much, it makes sense. Use PVPIVs.com to plug and play whatever IVs you have so you can see where that Pokemon ranks amongst the top IVs that you are seeing for that particular Pokemon. Break points and bulk points. I'm going to skip that right now. We'll cover that in a follow-up section or vid because you don't need to worry about that right now. You just need to understand what PvP IVs are. CMP and CAP, charge move priority and charge attack priority respectively. Charge move priority, or CMP, is the more colloquial way of saying it, rolls off the tongue a little bit nicer. And cap is the official Pokemon way of saying it because they're built different. These quick time events occur when you and your opponent throw or click on a charged attack at the same time. The Pokemon with the higher attack stat will win that fight. For example, a Charizard, which we can agree has a high attack, will never win CMP or CAP against a Mewtwo, which has a much higher attack stat. These are IV dependent in some cases. I'll get into that later, but just in case you're scratching your head as to why sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit when you CMP against certain Pokemon. Best Buddy? No, this is not just a fashionable ribbon. There is also some function to the madness. In Great League and Ultra League, when you have the Best Buddy equipped, you can gain an additional level and thus gain more stat product. In the Master League, same but different. If you have it equipped and you're in battle staring in a mirror trying to determine whose is bigger, the BB equipped Mon will be the bigger Mon and will win CMP against the opponent's mirror Pokemon. You can only equip one Best Buddy at a time, so choose wisely. Functional Hundos essentially means you're missing an IV or two on your defense or HP stat, never your attack stat, but you don't lose any matchups in the Master League for it. So it's essentially like having a Hundo. Why does that matter? Well, if you don't want to spend all your hard-earned money looking for the Hundos to play in the MasterCard League, the Fundo will serve just fine. The final portion of this video is going to center around move timing. It is slightly more advanced terminology, but ones you should know and be aware of, and then we'll close it out with some miscellaneous terms that you may have heard here or there. So for the timing section, I'm going to cheat a little bit and recommend you go watch 𝐿𝒐𝒗𝒆 vids on fast move duration, as they are a godsend. He is the current reigning world champ, and one could say he knows a thing or two about this game. Links to his channel down below. What is a turn? It refers to your fast attack, and it is how long your fast attack animation lasts, or the duration of your fast attack. They can be counted in seconds, or half seconds, or turns. 1 half second equals 1 turn. I can't count half seconds to save my life, so for the purposes of this video, we're going to use turns. There are 5 total turn duration moves. 1 turn moves, half a second. 2 turn moves, 1 second. 3 turn moves, 1.5 seconds. 4 turn moves, 2 seconds. And 5 turn moves, 2.5 seconds. They all refer to how long a fast attack will last, and the reason it's important is to learn the following: how not to throw on alignment, and how to optimize your fast move timing. Again, I won't cover these specifically in this video, as this video would be way too long, but please go check out 𝐿𝒐𝒗𝒆's channel. As well, check out FPSticks and Wallower's channels. Sadly, they no longer make content, but their channels are invaluable resources for learning these crucial game mechanics. New mechanic, or damage registration error, again, 𝐿𝒐𝒗𝒆 has an incredible video already on this topic, but I will cover it briefly. I told you, I'm cheating for this part. To understand the concept, I need to cover the following. The damage from a fast move will register 1 turn before the completion of said fast move. So, a 5-turn move, the damage will register on the 4th turn. A 4-turn move, the damage will register on the 3rd turn, and etc, etc. 1-turn fast moves register on the same turn, the one exception. Damage registration error refers to that situation where your Pokemon is 1 fast move away from fainting, meaning all your opponent has to do is throw 1 fast move and your Pokemon goes kaput. When you have a lower turn duration fast move, for example, if your opponent is rocking Incinerate 5 turns and you Volt Switch 4 turns, after your fast move completes and your charge move lights up, you should be able to click on that charge move before you go down. Your opponent's Incinerate will complete after your charge move has been full sent, and you won't die with the move. Damage registration error occurs when the damage from your opponent's fast move registers before you can successfully get that charge move off, and you die with the move. Again, refer to 𝐿𝒐𝒗𝒆's vids, he has much more info on the topic. Last, but certainly not least, are probably some of the most popular terms you've heard, and maybe you don't know what the hell is going on. Baiting is how you can gain a couple of inches in this game of metrics, is when you use a charge move that is lower energy cost, meaning it takes less long to get to than your harder hitting, more energy costing charge attack, in an effort to strip a shield from your opponent, and then hit him with everything you got. Once you get proficient at this, you climb to a level known as Master Batur. BM, or bad manners, covers a range of things, which I will define thusly. Shakespeare looking ass. Throwing a resisted move against your opponent, or making an unnecessary play against your opponent. So this is typically done by a player when they know the game is over and the opponent is dragging out the game, delaying the inevitable. The examples are plenty, ranging from no bubbling a first charge move when you have back-to-back to show your opponent just how lost the battle was for them. It can be an unnecessary catch when you still have 2 shields, or throwing, let's say, a Sludge Bomb onto a Registeel, which is 2 times resisted. Or the elite way of doing it, throw a Mud Bomb against a Jump Bluff or a Tropius, which is 3 times resisted. How you like them apples? Catching / Sac Swap. Catching is using one of your back mons to catch an opponent's charged attack that may be resisted, or that you don't want to take on the mon that you're currently battling with. Just a minor stipulation. A lot of you lower ranking battlers do this to try and be fancy, and then you wonder why you don't climb. If this is you, stop it. Get some help. A Sac Swap is the same but different, and refers to preserving a mon on low health to be used later in the game as a potential 3rd shield, to sacrifice that Pokemon to the Pokegods. Next is force closing your app. It's where your opponent force quits the app and leaves you stuck in the game fighting ghosts and having to fast move everything down, because if you also close out the app, then you would also lose that battle. This is definitely the butthurt way of quitting a game in my experience, and it's typically done by advocates of the algorithm who feel the boogeyman is out to get them. Please don't come at me in the comments. The GigaChad way of conceding is the top left BM. But first, what is top lefting / conceding a match? To top left is not to force close the app. When you know a game is over, you can save you and your opponent some time by hitting that little door at the top left and leaving the match. This is not bad manners. What might be considered bad manners is what I've coined the top left BM. The top left BM is when you know you've lost, but want to do a little bit bad manners yourself because you're salty, you're a sore loser, and you wait until you know your opponent is going to throw a charge move to click that top left door. You pause a second, and then you leave the match. If done successfully, you'll see your opponent stuck in the charge attack animation, and you can ha 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 and laugh while on the inside you're raging and dying of pain. This video has gone on insanely long, but these are essentially all the basics you should know if you're just starting PvP. Above all else, study your typings, study your move timings, and you'll find success in GBL. Please feel free to leave questions down below and let me know if you have any other comments or want to see me cover some more advanced game mechanics such as waiting a turn, baiting and sneaking in more detail, the peekaboo play, breakpoints and bulk points, Slayer/Slayer IVs, undercharging, farming, splitting the damage, IV dependent CMP CAPs, and the algorithm. This video took a lot of work to make, so if you enjoyed the video and found it useful, feel free to drop a like. If this video gets more than 1,000 likes, I will definitely make that part 2, because the editing for this one was... whoo! If I got anything wrong, also, please feel free to correct me down below. I'm hoping this can be a good beginner's guide to the fascinating world that is Pokemon Go GBL, so definitely feel free to share the video with Go Battle League beginners and anyone else you think may find the video helpful or entertaining. And if you're interested in seeing me make my first push toward reaching Legend rank, feel free to check out this playlist. And I'll catch you in that next video. Peace.